I'm really showing my age, I know, with my song choices and movie choices as I use modern day storytelling in songs and movies to help open up words and share emotive states that we fall into that sometimes we can't articulate and can't describe, but we hear a song and they just nail it. And the song I'm thinking of when I heard a lot in my early recovery 20 years ago when I first got clean and sober about the gift of desperation, and every time, especially beautiful Barb said, I wanted to punch her out. You know, the gift of desperation. You know, I'm clean and sober in a bloody psych ward with all my past trauma leaking out like sewerage, and I can't have a joint or a drug or a drink, and you know, I'm wedged between a wardrobe and a wall, in one of those lovely crazy person's gowns, you know, that do up at the back, and I've been sobbing for days, so my eyes are like tomatoes, and I'm rocking and fetal, and somebody says, you know, the gift of desperation is a blessing. You kind of don't want to click your heels and agree with them. However, looking back in hindsight, the most desperate, darkest, loneliest times in my life have been what have accelerated me to make big changes. And I always think of that song. Every time I hear it, I don't hear it often anymore. I used to play it on loop, the Eagles' Desperado. And I've just cut a few little lines out of it in today's word vitamin, because Desperado, you know, it brings up a cowboy on his horse, you know, a lone wolf kind of person. But in inner city, you know, there are many desperados, amazingly beautiful hearted people that I work with that are emotionally disconnected on their couches at home, surrounded by family that loves them, but they are desperado. They are, you know, alone and self-protecting. And the older we get, if we keep ignoring our wounds and our issues, they just keep snowballing. So we need to keep pushing people away more and more because we feel more and more out of control. So, you know, I finished today's word vitamin with a little quote by Jim Carrey that talks about, you know, the gift of desperation. And he's nailed it, because, you know, it's only through that gift do we ever get the courage to make a major change. And big changes often polarize you. People that are used to you being a certain way, often that used to like you being one way, perhaps, you know, that you might have some people in your life, I know I did, that loved it when I was desperate for friends, desperate for a man, desperate for company. And I would put up with so much shit because I was desperate, because I felt so unlikable and so unloved, and that's because I was so absent. And when I started to do my work and put down all my distractions and I came home. You know, home is where the heart is. When you come home to yourself and you're good company for yourself, you know, you've got a full tank and you are complete on your own, so you don't need other people to complete you. And if anybody comes into your life, they've got to add something and bring something. You're not desperate for it because you're self-contained and self-supporting. And that way you can have a full and adult relationship, not a codependent one. So there's some food for thought there from a recovering desperado. I hope if you get a chance to read this word vitamin today that it's helpful. Mwah! Lots of love. I'll be back tomorrow. See ya.